What's good, family and friends, haters and naysayers? It is your big homie, TC Storm Caldwell, BKA Storm E Weathers, the beast from the East. And you make sure that you tune in right now. Call your friends, gather around for this episode of Inside the Music, the Truth About the Truth, with our guest, Max Groove. Welcome to our Christmas episode of Inside the Music, the Truth About the Truth. As always, I am TC Storm Caldwell, your big homie, BKA Stormy Weathers, the beast from the East, coming down from NYC to PHI-LA, period, 95 South, where we here in Hip Hop Plaza. And make sure that you know that I am with the two kings, the best on the West, rolling down the Vegas Strip. DC, Don DaCosta, and King KC Cousin. And this episode's guest is the incomparable, smooth, jazzy Max Groove, right here on Move'Em Right now, we're going to get right into it. Take it away, KC.
What's happening, you guys?
Hey, man.
Hey, we are here today with a cat with substance. You know, sometimes we hear cats and we don't recognize them from the sound of their fingers. You know, but ladies and gentlemen, I get the opportunity to introduce to you none other than Max Groove, Groove.
Hey, Casey, what's up, my brother?
What's happening, man? It's great meeting you, man. You know,
very nice to meet you, sir.
Yeah. I've heard and read and learned great things. Everything has been positive. I mean, like even with you hanging with Don, I mean, like, hey, you know, hey.
Now, careful. We get in trouble now. I know stories.
Well, that's what this is about. The truth about the truth. We expose.
Unfortunately, anything he wants to tell you in reference to me is not true.
Okay, that was your disclaimer.
Yeah, and look at that mug. Yeah,
right, guilt, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
So, Max, keyboardist. What a pianist, organist? What's your?
Then I did. You know, I'm a synthesist. You know, I've been doing it all. I wouldn't say I'm really a grand pianist. I'm more of a keyboardist. You know.
Okay.
I'm schooled, but you know, it's I've tried to forget everything I've ever learned just so I could come from another angle, from a whole nother approach. I want to create that magic, see, and that's, you know, you don't want to be reading scales and that shit. So
when did you start playing? Well,
I started playing guitar about 7, viola 9 years old, for about all those years on viola. Then I started keyboards about 16, going on 16. Gotten all the little bands, you know, going on all through those years. Did that, tried to get out of music and got into the bar business. Yeehaw. And I auditioned for a band, and I passed the audition. So I sold my sports car, gave up the high dollar gig, and went on the road, man. I did. Sold the sports car, bought a 73 Vandura GMC, 4-bolt main. And it was just a shell, 2 seats, nothing else. And I hauled my B3 and 2 less.
Little room for gear.
Yeah, always got to have room for gear.
Yeah, that's it. They say, what kind of car you got? What kind of trunk you got?
You know, it's funny. I've owned a van full time since '73. I've always had a van.
You play organ?
Yeah, well, I sold my B and my M. I had a couple of Bs, sold my M. That's too heavy. I'm too old. I'm not going to carry that stuff anymore.
Well, Max, here's a question for you. At any time, did you play in school?
As a viola player, I took second in state in high school. I got to be quite good on viola, I guess. I took state, you know. I won that, you know, second place, 2 years running. And that was viola. But then as far as the keyboards, I played all the parties in high schools. You know, they'd have a sock op or something like that. You know, for some reason I was in the bands that was doing that. Yeah.
So you were sucking in money at an early age, huh?
That wasn't all I was sucking in on, buddy.
we will not go to the other stuff.
Well, being a musician, I had a great time. Let's just say that. The ladies, yeah, I learned early in life that girls like musicians. And I liked women, or girls at that time. Women now.
That's what all the musicians and the singers come on and say. They started because they wanted girls.
Damn near. You know, I mean, I wanted to play music. You know, there was a couple of us that started, and we were going to grow up to be musicians. And I always wanted to be the guy. Whenever they said that, I was always wanted to do the original music. I said, yeah, I want to be full time for a living as on my original music. You know, and I did that. Started in '80. I finally got to do that. And to this day, I mean, I'll do a gig tomorrow night. This weekend, I'll have gigs. You know, I might play a couple of covers, maybe but 90% is all original. Every so often I'll throw one in, because if you're in the bar scene, as Casey knows, you know, you got to give them something identifiable every so often, or
they throw,
no matter how great you sound, they want to hear.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, exactly.
You know any John Denver?
Proud Mary.
Yeah. So, Max, you played with some illustrious groups, man, of different flavors.
Oh, yeah, for real.
You know, a lot of cats play one genre, you know, but you've been around. Name some of the groups you've been with.
Well, remember, these cats that always hired me, or the promoters, I always got to play all original. No covers, nothing. So these cats, like the Temps, the Four Tops, I mean, it goes on. I've opened for everyone from Chaka Khan to Joan Armatrading to Marcus Miller, you know, Count Basie, Cool in the Gang, all them cats. But I was doing all that, and they're all the different styles of music, but I was always doing my original funky jazz.
Okay, I feel you.
And in the early days, I got a lot of airplay, and so most of these markets I was in, people would recognize that, because, you know, you pay off some of the stations, and they play your music underneath the commercials, or going into news or something every hour, right?
Yeah.
So you built a following like that in some of the key markets, and so when you came through, well, you know, you could at least draw 100 people, maybe, you know, that kind of stuff. And if you're with the Tops, there's like 50,000 people. You know, 20,000 people out in front.
Yeah, you're out front. You get to open the show. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was fun as hell, man. Those guys were a hoot and a half every time. And I knew all the promoters that was putting them on the tours. A lot of the urban promoters here in town were all, you know, the money cats. They all were fans of mine, right? And they liked me, and so they put me on the road. I remember I got in trouble when my first show with Count Basie. His tour manager went nuts. Because our first show, and we're not the kind of band to play for Count Basie. Jamming, you know, we ain't jiving, we're jamming, and the guy went nuts. And it was just so happened my mom and dad knew Count Basie very well. My dad's dead, but my mom's hanging on to his wheelchair backstage by the firewall, hanging on she's sitting on a crate, this little old lady, right, holding on, and they're just shooting the shit back and forth. The old days, right, never stopped. And I'm standing there watching all that, and the guy comes up, his manager, tour manager, and complained about us. We shouldn't be playing with them because we were so bad, and blah, 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 blah. And so I'd written a song called Espresso in 6/8. It's like a swing jazz thing. And I played it my first set. And I'll never forget this. Count Basie didn't even look at that clown. He looked up at me and said, pointed up, and he goes, "Hey, man, play me that coffee song," which it was called Espresso. And that was it. The rest of the tour, rest of the dates, no one said one thing to me about anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I always got my money, but no one ever gave me any shit about well, what are you doing open for? But I will say that was the worst review in my history I've ever had, because it starts out of all the people that could have opened for Count Basie, they had this blah 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 band, Max Groove, blah blah blah, and definitely was putting me down. And I have to agree with them. I mean, but it's not my fault that the promoters were buds and wanted me to do the shows, and I wanted to do it, of course.
Yeah, I've been on the wrong stage. I've been on the wrong stage with a great band. I was with a band and we opened up. Well, we didn't open up. We were on a tour up in D.C. One side of the city had a funk tour going on. The other side had a go-go tour.
Oh,
I was with a band that was funky as the Delics. They stuck us on the go-go stage. We got booed by about between 10 to 15,000 people.
Yeah.
Oh, it was vicious.
It's ugly, isn't it?
It's vicious.
I mean, you don't know what to do. You're just like standing there like, oh, well, fuck. What? Yeah, exactly.
You do what you do harder and you get booed louder.
It's not that ugly. When it's really ugly, they throw fruit and vegetables.
Yeah.
You know what I do when I get in a situation like that? I had a bass player for, 20 years. And he's a big old brother, and he just would slap the shit. He would intimidate you just by on stage, just dominate it, And I'd have him go out there and do solos in front of all those people. And they would love him at the end because he's just, fucking wailing. And he's a tall guy, big guy. They loved him, man. So that's how I kind of countered that for about 20 years. But you're right, man. There's times people are stupid. They don't realize they book you in the wrong venue, agents, the wrong situation.
All these wrongs, wrong. How you and Don meet? I just figured that was a good segue. I figured that might be a good segue. I just figured that might be a good segue.
My vocalist, Robert and Tume Owens, we write songs together, been in my band since like the late 80s. And he has his own great career right now on his own. But he turned me on to this record label. And that he was thinking about joining, and being my brother, he's always trying to get me involved and shit. And he got me involved. And then he realized, I don't think I want to do this. And me being stupid, I went ahead and did it with Don. Don was the president of the label, right? And Don's a great guy. I mean, we hit it off immediately. But the guy that owned the station was a real douchebag, a real fucking mess. I mean, I'm telling you, this guy had to be on crack or meth. I thought meth personally. After listening to him and dealing with all this, I'm thinking meth. So when he called at 2 in the morning.
The funny thing was, he's right. It was his brother Robert and Tume. I was doing some things because I was trying to sign him to the label, and he said to me, Don, I got this guy that I work with. And he'd like to come on the label. But I'll wait for that. And I said, well, who is the guy? And he says, the guy's name is Max Groove. And I looked, get his ass here. And he said, are you serious? And I said, get his ass here. And he says, well, why? And I said, because I know of who the hell he is. Because like I told him, when you're at a record label, if you like somebody's music, you're always looking to see when their contract expires with the company that they're with. And I had done that when I was at another record company. So now being the president of this record company, I said, get his ass here. So that's basically, it was Robert that brought him over. And of course, Max, unknowingly, he had quite a few albums out, and I was quite aware of his talent. So that was my reasoning for telling Robert, hurry up and get his ass here.
Good man.
And that label was?
Do we have to say it?
That's what I'm getting ready to say. Neither one of y'all said that shit. Like y'all don't even want to mention that, man. What's up?
Why give that clown any cred, man?
All right. Don't give him the drop him.
He owes me money, motherfucker. That song is good for him.
And I'll tell you how funny it is. I'll tell you how funny it is. KC sends me a notice saying, does Max have anything on YouTube? And me, I go over to YouTube looking for Love's Waiting. And rather than Love is Waiting, the whole song, do you know what the hell is up there? There's a post up there, 30 seconds long, of Love's Waiting by Max Groove on You Know Who label. I will not mention the label, but you and I both know what label that is.
Hey man, we live in a vicious world.
And that's sad.
No, I mean, and we love it. We'll say this, we love it.
Can't help it. But
look at
how
that,
I got introduced to this particular person that owned this label. Basically in September. And he said to me, I've got 3 artists on my label. He was getting ready to close it down. And he said, can you get me 7 artists, recording artists by Christmas or in December? And I said to him, sure. And at the end of September, we had 7 artists. And I said, is this enough? And he looked at me and said, nothing is ever enough. And I said to him, fine. I'm asking that for a reason. And he said, whatever number you can get in here, get it in here. And by December, we had 21 artists. The whole problem with me and I had a lot of artists that wanted to come that didn't come, like his brother, Robert Owens, that said, listen, I got no problem. I'd love to work with you, but the guy that owns this label, I want nothing to do with working with that jackass. We had 3-way meetings, me, him, and the artist. And the artist would call me after that meeting and say, do me a favor. I will sign with your label, but here's the thing. If ever we have to have a meeting, I don't want to have it with him. And if we have it with him, I'm leaving. And to that point, he tried to close me down because he went to Facebook and said he disrespected me and my family, and we want his post taken down.
We're getting ahead of this. You know, next thing you know, we're going to have to tell him who the label is. And I'm not ready for that.
Well, no, I'm not telling the label. And I am not giving them, you know whose name.
Guy. He's gone. He's history. I don't even remember. What was his name? He's gone. I can't even remember that motherfucker's name.
I like the way
we could go on. We could go on to the rest of the interview and talk about that asshole.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
We will no longer talk about that label or him.
That is definitely a festered source overworked spot. That we need not discuss it any further.
We don't need to, man. We've said everything. I mean, you can obviously tell. But yeah, in your case, you know, you've met cats like that.
I've been there. I've been there, man. I've been there.
So now you know why we got such venom in our voice, because fuck him. What a weenie.
So you did some stuff with Johnny Guitar.
Yeah, you know, in '74, I had auditioned and got this gig with this band called the Mack Truck, Gary Mack, a Vegas band, a big show thing. And we were out of work for a while in that year. And I covered a gig for a friend of mine that was a rock and roll organist that was filling in because Johnny Guitar Watson's keyboardist went and played with John LaPonte, quit, and left him hanging. And he's on this tour. And he came through Kansas City. My buddy had played a couple of nights with them. And then he had to go do his own some shows, you know, rock, whatever, concerts. And so I filled in for him for, I guess, the rest of that week. and we got through with the week, and I guess my buddy wanted to gig back, and Johnny wouldn't let him come back. Well, man, I grew up on the street. I mean, Johnny and I hit it off immediately. And, you know, every night I played with that guy, I had not only the best at that time, drugs, always booze, and women. Because he was a pimp from L.A., man. That guy, they hooked us up all through the Chitlin circuit. I mean, but we were gods back there. And we're in the middle of nowhere. And you see all these Cadillacs and limos in front of this little, I wouldn't say shack. Yeah, but it actually served food. It was big. I mean, you know, it would hold 300, 400 people. And but man, that was hilarious. What a tour that was. Yeah, and Johnny was great. And then years later, I got signed to some other labels, and I'd go to L.A. and I got signed to a label, anyway, Big Red Distribution.
Yeah, Big Red Distribution. Yeah.
Yeah, we got signed. Robert and I got that deal with a song we wrote called "Party's Over." Anyway, we got signed to that label, and you know how when they get a new artist, and you know you've probably sat at the table, and then everybody, while they're listening to your demo, they pick up the phone. You know, have you gone through that yet? And then you know, and all it is they're setting you up to walk you through all the floors of the people that's going to pump your record, and they like you to meet everybody that's going to push your record. And that's what they did with Robert and I. Walked us, and lo and behold, Johnny was sitting there at one of the places, one of the things, one of the desk, and I looked, motherfucker, and he looked at me, motherfucker, and that from then on, man, we were stupid again. You know, every time I go to LA, man, when he wasn't on the road.
Yeah, no. When you say the Chitlin circuit, which coast? Which coast?
East Coast.
So
down
you did
through Georgia, through
you did the backwards L. They used to call it the backwards L.
Is that what that is? I never.
Backwards
L.
Yeah, down the East Coast and then shoot over through Texas.
Well, actually, it wasn't. We didn't get on the coast. It was not. Well, I guess it was there, wasn't it? I was pretty fucked up.
Carolinas, Virginia.
Yeah. Well,
the backwards L down the East Coast, and then shoot across through Baton Rouge, Texas, New Orleans.
That's it. That's
right, yeah.
So. And they loved us. You know, it's Johnny, man. And I'm getting laid every night. I'm getting, you know, shit happening for me.
White boy,
and it was always
with Johnny guitar. Oh, they loved you.
Only white boy in the band.
They loved you.
They fucking loved me.
We had our token white boy. White boy. I mean, after a while, he was the most soulful cat in the group.
I'm telling you, Johnny always he'd always pay me. He'd pull the big wad out. He'd undo his garter on his hose, you know, for his socks. He'd undo his hose garter, and pull out a big wad. I'm not jiving you, a huge fucking wad of money. And he'd pay me my little pilfery mint. And I got to pay the white boy first to the whole band and everybody. And we're shooting pool and doing drugs and women. And we're just messed up. And everybody's laughing at me. It's hilarious. But I got paid. I didn't give a shit. Yeah. And I had a great time doing it. And I guess everybody liked me. Because when it was over, you know, they kept
those were good days. You know what's so funny about those gigs? Like you say, there'd be 100 Cadillacs outside.
I'm hip.
The gig be over. 15 minutes after the gig is over, there's not a car in sight.
Well, you know why?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we had two Winnebagos that Johnny went in. Right. Yeah. One was there was a comedian, a brother that had a dummy, a brother dummy on his lap, and he was the one that paid for did the tour, paid for the whole tour, right? Because he's friends with Tony. So they had the one Winnebago, and then the other Winnebago with a trailer that was the band, and then I'm in my van. I'm in my Van Duro hauling my B3 behind them in a caravan. That's how I toured with them. They didn't have room for the B3, you know. But he paid me the gas. He took good care of me.
That's the good old days.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm glad they're over. To be honest, I don't think I could handle that now. You know, that's
what couldn't you handle? The drugs or the women? Which one?
Both. Can't handle either one of them. Don't want the drugs. Don't want the women.
Yeah, you gotta let them go at some point, you know.
Totally.
Hey.
You know, and I ain't mad about it either. I'm telling you. You know, I was married 23 years. I toured all over Europe, and I never cheated on her, and it pissed me off. But when you're married, you should be married.
Would you say wasted all that time? I could have been a dog. You know, I could have been a dog.
Know.
Yeah, I could have been a dog. I could have drug it through.
I think I was married that long.
I could have drug it through.
Huh? Yeah, I think I was married that long. Unfortunately, my marriage for that long encompassed 4 women.
Well, you know, it's funny. I never cheated. I was married 23 years, but I'd been a whore for so long before I met her that when I met her, she was such the sweetest girl in the world. And and I have 2 lovely daughters. You know, they're the love of my life, period. But I'm really glad. And my ex was 14 years younger than me. Hot, you know, man. I'm a musician. But I'm so glad she's gone. I mean, I love living alone and not putting up with any bullshit from anyone about anything.
It's like the hotel room. That's what it is. It's like being back in the hotel room.
I miss that, man. All through the 70s and 80s, I lived that.
You know. So no laundry. You know, somebody picks up the dishes. You know, come on, it beats mom.
Some of the people that are cleaning your room will give you head occasionally.
Yeah, hey.
Somebody off the front desk. You spend a month at a place somewhere, you know, you hook up, you get to know the chef. All the bartenders and waitresses, they all love you. You're Mr. Personality. You're drinking free, screwing free. You know, I'm just saying.
Life was good.
Because I lived it. I know.
Life was good. You know, life on the road.
Still, it's still great, man. Life's great. This is awesome.
So what are you doing now? What are you doing now?
Working on another album. I got 2 albums in the can. With the industry the way it is, who gives a shit what you've recorded? I mean, you know, I have a radio show. I'm on the radio, Chocolate Radio, every Monday and Friday. I have a smooth jazz show. It's a drive time thing. So on the West Coast, you know, I take you to work, and in the UK, I'm taking you home. You know, the 6-hour difference from here. Anyway, so I'm doing that, doing smooth jazz, enjoying that. I like to hear all the new artists. I play mostly independent cats because being an independent cat now myself, and then over the years, you know, I'm so thankful for everyone that ever helped me, you know.
Yeah.
That I'm anxious to whatever I can do. I like to be able to play other people's music and get it exposed. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm gigging a couple of nights a week at a couple of upper scale steakhouses. You know, making good money doing that because they pay well. I was playing a bunch of the urban clubs down in the city for a long time, but I'm tired of them. I got a really sweet Saab convertible, right? And I have my van. I have an Odyssey now, a new one, newer. And but they've already destroyed that parking down there at 18th and Vine in the Jazz District. You know, it's really brutal. And my Saab, I'm tired of going and seeing my Saab get all sorts of shit happen to it. I've had 8 Saabs. I'm a Saab lover. Sorry.
Okay, I hear you. But you know, like
that's I quit. So I'm tired of playing those. So I'm kind of since the summer, I've just been chilling, playing these steakhouses, making good money doing that. And then I'm trying to get back on the road. I'd love to go do some shows. Every so often, somebody will remember Max Groove, and you know, like down in Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Dallas. You know, I'm real popular down in there. And they'll remember and bring me down, you know, make a few ducats, go down there, play Star again, and then come home and be bored shitless. So I sit around and I write music and do the radio show. I've been doing announcements for a lot of artists will hire me to promote their record, right? So I make a few $100 doing that for a bunch of artists. And record label, I got a couple of labels that have hired me to do their artist. You know, the promo, the 30-second promo spot. Yeah. You know, so
in actuality, tell you the truth, Max has had one of our artists on that was here on the show, which is Terry Morgan.
Yeah, I play Terry. I like
Terry has a song called "This Is Your Invitation," and Max has played that on his show.
I played it just what is today? I played it Monday morning. I play it every Monday and Friday.
You're gonna have to text me your information, man. You have to text me a link so I can send you some music. Get it out there, man.
Well, I'll play your shit in a heartbeat, Casey.
He's only got one song that you'll want to hear. Okay,
I got one song that Don is.
It's called "I Do." That's the only damn song he got that you'll want to play. It's called "I Do." Everything else, forget about it.
He's by. Hey, you know
Don. You give me all your music, and I'll play what I feel like playing.
What you say? Fuck, Don. I thought I was the only cat who said that. Hey, man, I like you more and more, Max. Shit.
You know I'm full of shit. At least I admit it.
Yeah, man. But I gotta make sure I get your information, man. You know, like I'm gonna have to roll up out of here soon.
Phone numbers and I'll send it to you. I'll just give you the link, the app. I'm also on Worldwide Jazz Radio out of Vegas with Langston Carter.
Okay.
He's got a radio thing, and I do that Monday, Wednesday evenings. 4 o'clock your guy. Are you in Vegas?
Yeah, I'm in Vegas.
Yeah, 4 o'clock your time every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You know, it's a repeat. I do it, and then give it Monday and Wednesday and Thursday, Wednesday and Friday are repeats. It's only an hour show, but I like Langston. I like what he's trying to do. But Chocolate Radio, I get about 3,600 to 4,000 listeners every show. That's a lot of people for an internet show.
Yeah, well, we'll have to get you more people in that. But while we're doing that, it is now time for us to take a station break and allow our sponsors to advertise their name to our audience. So we'll be back shortly.
Hey, before you guys go and take that break, because I might not be here when you get back.
What's up with that?
I got a gig, man, and the highway sucks. The highway sucks.
No, you're gonna make some money, man.
Hey, old skills, same game, man. Same game, player. Same
it's
game.
An honor to meet you, man. What a great time. I look forward to hanging with you. Don's one of my closest friends. He's become a real, true friend, and I'm honored that I'm able to do this with you guys and meet you guys, man. This is cool.
Well, I appreciate you being on the show, man. I really wish I had more time because, we got into talking, just straight talking. I didn't get a chance to ask a lot of questions, your discography, So
12 CDs, 3 in the top 20 at Billboard Jazz.
That's what I'm saying. There's so much. I guess
the 90s, all through the 90s, early 2000s, I was doing things.
I guess Don gets a chance to discuss that shit with you, man. But we're gonna have to get you back on the show. You know how it is, man. I gotta get ready to drag some of this stuff downstairs and hit the freeway before the traffic catch me.
Totally, my friend. Very nice to meet you. Thank you for having me.
Peace, love. Keep doing what you're doing, Don, TC, everybody. I'm gonna have to roll up out of here. So
go do your gig, and I'll be thinking of you. Not.
You'll see him when we bring him back.
So are we doing an official cut or am I just bouncing?
All right, Casey. Yeah. We're gonna break right here. So we're gonna let our brother go ahead and get himself together because he got something else to do. We're gonna bid adieu to King Casey Cousin. Thank you as always, King, for what you bring right here to the show. We're gonna be right back live with another segment right here on MovingRadio.com. Inside the Music, the truth about the truth with our guest, Max Groove. Y'all hold tight.
Yeah, we about to get back to the music. Okay, so what's the plan for the night, though? Cushion coffee, cushion coffee, cushion coffee, cushion coffee. Joey Brown be the king, the K9 the great nigga. I'm done. Gang hitty on the track, provide the bass.
Yo, what up, man? It's your boy Chevy. On radio, we got another hot one for you.
You see how we do it, checking the records, the fullest. Yeah, how I snap some moments.
That's just how I do. You send them, we move. audio. Move M radio, them are playing my audio now. Can I the great and King Natty? I'm feeling the love for now.
Listen, GC Live. K9
It's your boy K9. Move 'em radio, we in the building. Move'emRadio.com. You send them, we move them, baby. You ready for this?
You see us moving? Yeah, you send them, we move them. That's just the way we do it. Cause we got love for this music, bro. It ain't nothing to it. That's cause we love what we doing. This ain't a job, it's a life. So roll up and tune
We in the building. Move'emRadio.com. You send them, we move them. Chevy, man.
Yo, what up?
Let's get some shout outs, man.
Let's do it.
Shout out to my brother Brown Key Dollar.
Yeah.
For show out Nigeria.
Shout out to Scary Spot in Ghana. Africa in the building, that's what's up.
Shout out to my brother UB.
Yeah.
Out in Miami. My brother Chief Eli.
Big shout out to Jula Rome, Be the King.
And what though?
Upright Lions, you already know what it is, man. Moving radio, you send them, we move them.
Let's go.
But it's not the brag. You send them, we move them, little buddy. You already know the tag.
Yo, that was a lot going on right there. We got a lot going on here at Move'emRadio.com and Moving Radio TV. What you think about that, King Don, so far?
Well, it was good for what we heard. Unfortunately, our guy KC had to leave us.
Well, he had a gig tonight.
He has things to do, but be that as it may, there's still Max and I and TC. So be that as it may, Max,
we be hammering.
What are the things that you've been hammering around? Because while people don't know, during shortly, we'll be having a musical event with a track that you recorded with your brother Robert Owens Toomey, and we'll be listening to that. So basically, how did you come upon putting that together? Because that is one of my favorite tracks.
The guy that wrote the lyrics is one of my best friends who's passed this last year, Del Rice, who was a DJ. He got me into being a DJ, by the way. I was on KPRS, the major R&B station in the Midwest. And he got me to do my jazz show on that station, which led me to the other station I was on for 7 years. But I wrote this music. I just that boom boom bum ba da 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 da, the bass line, and I played the chords. And he goes, "Oh, I like that. Let me hear that." And then he started writing. He does that all the time. That's how he operates. It just comes out of him. And he wrote the damn near the whole song while I'm just playing it for him. And so then that was a great song, and I did it on an album, and I had another vocalist sing it, and I had it on another album, but I didn't do the vocal version. I just did the instrumental version, and which was pretty cool. And then Robert, I had another guy, my old bass player, was singing it, and then I wanted Robert. Well, Robert's my brother, he's my friend, and I wanted him to sing it. And he tried it, and it came out really, as you can tell, it came out really well. And so that's how we did it. It just kind of evolved. It morphed into the vocals section, And it's funny because I wrote it with the vocal after my buddies wrote the lyrics. I finished the whole song with the vocal in mind, and then I released it as an instrumental. And then years later, when we got with you, we released it as a vocal. And I liked the song. It did very well. Didn't somebody owe me money?
The song did. The song was very well constructed. But besides Robert, you got some very well-known people.
That's right. That's right.
To do the backup. Tell the people who the backup were on this track.
I grew up in this is my hometown, Kansas City, and there's a lot of great artists that live here. And one of the groups that's from here from the early 70s is Bloodstone. And, they're my friends. All of them have been my friends. But a couple of them are really, I'm like, we hang, go have breakfast, that kind of shit. And Harry Williams and Donald Brown, I asked them to do the background vocals on it, which is them singing it. and it sounds great. I love it. And we put it together. You know, I engineered that and produced that all myself, and produced it.
And did a very good job at it, I might add.
Thank you, man. I wrote it. You know, I've been a recording engineer since 1975. You know, I really know my way around the studio. I can go anywhere. I'm very proud of this. I can go anywhere in the world and kick everybody out and take over their facility and do any, you know, and do a project there, because I've done it for so many years. You know, I've built 2 recording studios from the ground up, you know, tuning the whole bit. Been quite an experience, quite a ride I've had doing this musical journey. So yeah, Love's Waiting is a fun song.
Here's the thing. You and Robert do a lot of musical compositions and tracks together. Are you guys working on anything now together? We've
got about half a dozen songs that he and I have written with lyrics, right? More of a commercial side of me. And then we have a new one that was off my maxed out CD. I did a song called City Z's. And we were on a gig doing a show, I don't know, a few months ago. And Robert was on the gig, and I'm playing that song. And for some reason, he just chimed in and started singing these lyrics that just came off the top of his head. He didn't even know he was really doing it. And I go, whoa, I love that. And now we've got a resurgence, so that we're going in the studio this next week to put the vocals on top of the mastered track that I have already. And it works great. We've already recorded it in my home studio, but I want to go to a real studio and, you know, the real microphones, the big room. I like to hear that when it mixes well when you do that.
The whole nine.
Like Love's Waiting was done in a big room, you know, 20-foot ceilings, big room, open room like that. And then I put a mic way in the back just if I want to hear the reverb of the natural reverb of the room. And
give you all the acoustics.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. And so that's cool. So that's what we're going to, I've been looking out new studios to go check out. The studio I worked at since 1988 closed. That studio went through 3 owners, and I've done all my albums. I track there, and then I go to LA to mix them and master them. I don't master in Kansas City, not a chance. But yeah, I miss that room. I've been there a long time, but my buddy retired. The last owner that owned it, all 3 guys that bought that studio were close friends of mine. And I had everything to do talking them into buying it. I admit it. It was a great facility. Built
so why didn't you have them keep it open and run it?
I've owned 2 studios. I'm not going to run a studio. Forget that shit. Not a chance. No, that's too much headache, man. I'm an artist. I don't want to do that. It's like I almost bought a couple of bars. And every time I do it, my buddy who gives me the money for it, he goes, do you really want to do this? You know, I mean, you know, and we talk about it big time because I know I had the money, but it's just a lot of work, you know, unless you make it big for little pay.
Oh, well, gee, I have a project I better talk to you about then.
No. Yeah. I'm not doing any studios. I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to produce anybody. I don't want to do any producing. I just want to produce myself, write songs, and hopefully I can get back on the road and go do shows every so often.
Oh, you would just be the executive producer.
Of
a track that you and I and who the artists are, we will talk later. I will not give out that information on this show.
Well,
not unless it's done.
I can do that because that's what I do. I like to produce. And if you like the way that Love's Waiting sounds, the frequencies and the final mix and all the reverbs and all that stuff, the
guy that wrote the song, his name I will tell you. I had him on as a guest. I call him my little brother. His name is Rick Ferguson. Rick Ferguson has written gold and platinum records, songs for people like the Four Tops, which was Love You All Over, which was platinum. The song he wrote for the Whispers, which was Don't Be Late for Love.
I like actually, I used to hang out with Lavelle.
Yeah, and Peabo Bryson, Peabo Bryson had an interest in that song. It's just that the Whispers got to it first and recorded it. So Peabo never bothered to do it.
That's fine. Whatever you need me to do, I'm there. I'll even fly to Vegas.
Oh, it ain't here, man. They're in California. They're in the Bay Area, these people.
I know people there.
Oh, I know you do. So it would not be a drastic trip for anyone. Fortunately, I'm in Vegas, so I can drive over there.
I know. All my friends are out there. Palm Springs, everyone I know, all these guys. I'd like to be out there. I'm tired of this winter that's happening.
Well, you need to do what Savon did, because she was in Cleveland. She got the hell up out of there and moved to Florida.
Well, my buddies down in Orlando, we're looking at Orlando, making a change, because I think there's a big jazz community there.
Oh, there is. There is no doubt about that. The actuality is. She's so happy to be out of Cleveland and get the hell away from the cold weather and the snow. When I talked to her, I said, well, I have to write a song for your new beginning. So that's what the song is called that I'm working on for her. It's called New Beginning.
Oh, cool.
Because that's what it will be, the hell out of the cold and into the warmth of Florida.
Thank you.
Well, listen, I know I live with one of them. I'm married to a girl from Florida.
Florida.
Yeah, Florida. She bugs me every year about having to go back and make an appearance. I kind of try to keep from letting her go for her appearance because she don't know how to come home.
Well, that happens.
Yeah, especially when your kids and your grandkids are there. So she'll go like, babe, I'm just going to go for 2 weeks. And it winds up being 2, 3, 4 months.
Well, that's no good. Who wants to be alone?
Well, listen, last time she left in, I think it was September. She came back after the first of the year.
Well, she must be having fun, baby.
Well, she had good reason to. They had a group of storms and she had to get the roof replaced and everything else. So, and it was a thing that there wasn't a hurry up for it. So, but in this case, right now, we're going to get TC to go into the vault, our musical vault that has all this music in it. And we're going to get him to go down and we're going to get him to find that exact track that and Robert Owens did called Love's Waiting. And we will go right now. TC, look it up and pull it out of the vault because you can introduce it and we'll play it. And folks, we'll be back after this tape of Love's Waiting.
And off to the vault I go to go find the single that we're going to listen to. So ladies and gentlemen, you make sure to stay tuned because you're going to come back and hear the sounds of Love's Everything by Max Groove featuring Robert Owens right here on Inside the Music, the truth about the truth on MoveRadio.com.
Let's stop fighting, we are one. Let's stop the killing, we are one. Let's stop the hate speech. Let's make this world a better place. Let's stop fighting, we are one. Let's stop the killing, we are one. Let's stop the hate speech. Let's make this world a better place to stay. One love, keep us together forever. One love, keep us together. I'm still waiting for that day when Muslim you join with Christian. praise God.
Welcome back. Yeah, yeah. That was a nice jam right there. I like that. So, King Don, what you think about that jam?
Well, that was great. Okay. This was a track, like I said, I was well aware of it because it was on the label that I worked for, was president of. And I was really happy with the construction of that track. So like Max said, he had some very established and well-known people on it, like the background singers, who was Bloodstone, Robert Ntume himself, who now has a very flourishing career. So, and Max himself, who, as he told you, besides him doing music, and has some things that we're going to stay on him about, because we're going to be in hopes that when he's ready to release this new music of his, he'll come here and do it. But be that as it may, why don't you tell us in this new music that you've got holding on to, what are some of the things that are part of it?
Well, you know, it's my classic signature sound that I'm known for having grooves. So it's all very groove oriented with a lot of pretty melodic melodies and funky. Of course, I'm always funky. And we have oh my gosh, 6 vocal songs, you know, that Robert and I have written and got it all recorded. Sunset Grill, Eleuthera. My gosh, let's see. The Party's Over. Come Inside. It just goes on and on. I was even thinking about redoing Midnight Rain, but maybe another album.
And that I want you to know, you got quite a few albums out, but that was also one of the tunes that I was very impressed by listening to it. Was that one. Also one about, what was it, Dreaming?
Yeah, Dreaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a nice song. That's, you know, Midnight Rain, that went 14 in Billboard for 27 weeks. And I actually made a shitload of money off of them playing it on The Young and Restless. Well, anytime you get like over like 3 minutes, 37 seconds on prime time, you know, and 252 affiliates pay in, you know, there it is. That's cha-ching, you know. That's just extra. That's nice.
Yeah, that ain't money to go down and play video games with.
No, I went and bought me 5 Rolexes and a brand new Saab. That's exactly what I did with my money.
Well, personally, I'm amazed personally, because knowing you, I would have expected you to go buy 1 Rolex and 5 Saabs.
I've had 8 Saabs, but you can only drive 1 at a time. I did have 2 at a time because I had a convertible and a racing edition. My ex-wife used to yell at me, you know, because I had and a van, right? So, but you know, you gotta have your priorities. Well, the Rolexes, I'm a watch collector, and I bought those to sell because that's really good. That's good value on your money, because when you buy like 5 of them, you get into it fairly cheap, and you're able to sell them, you know, almost double your money on them for real. And that's what I did. Every time I needed some serious money, I'd sell one of my Rolexes. And I kept the cheapest one, the oldest one I kept for myself. And I've worn that for over 30 years. Yeah, it's a long time.
I would have liked to have kept I collect watches too. I mean, I had in the neighborhood of close to about 120 watches. But when I got out here, I actually had in the neighborhood of about 17 and 19 watches.
Well, I cut back to 40, and then I needed money real bad to buy this other Saab I have now, right? And I sold all my watches to buy that.
I never sold any of my watches. The reason was that when I sold my house in New York, they allowed the ex-wife to go and get her stuff out first. And in getting her stuff out, she went and took my stuff, of which she ran off with a couple of Movado and Citizen and some other well-named watches. So That's what I was left with when I got here, was about 17. And out of the 17, it was only about, I'd say about 4 or 5 that were still running.
I get it. But, and I used to repair watches. I would get the old 50s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s watches. And I had my little loop, and I get in there with my little screwdrivers, pull out a spring, know how to regulate it. Forget that shit. That's too much work. I don't even do that at all.
Well, I did that. I used to do that kind of work on, if you go into a bank, those clocks in the back of the bank vault door. That's what I used to do. Okay. And people used to say, well, why the hell did it take so long? Well, you're looking at about 1,800 pieces.
Yeah.
Now you got to take it apart and clean it, put it all back together and test it. You're talking about quite a bit of time.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I've been there.
It was funny because my boss even said to me, that takes too much time. What I need you to do is do 1 clock and just put down that the others were checked and tested. And I looked at him and said, not a problem. But I need a memorandum stating that. And he said, why? And I said, very simple. If that 1 clock I work in happens to break and the others shut down because they're dirty, and the bank now has to cough up $25,000 for me to open that door, it ain't gonna happen, because nobody's pointing the finger at me and you're lying through your damn teeth saying, he misunderstood what I said. No. They're going to understand what the hell you said, because it's going to be on paper with your signature. And he said, clean all the clocks.
Oh, clean all the clocks. Okay.
Oh, yeah. He said, clean. If it got 3, clean 3. If it got 4, clean the 4. I was like, yeah, I thought so. But, it's a job. So.
Well, I can't wait to get my new product out and get it to you.
Well, when you do, we will have you back to express all the things that fun that you had producing it, putting it together.
We'll get Robert. Maybe we'll get Robert to do a double with me. We and both.
Yeah, maybe because he's in Kansas City now.
Yeah, he moved here now.
Yes, I know. He told me when he was moving, he says, I'm moving back to Kansas City over by Max. And I said, oh, okay, cool.
Oh, man, we've got a lot. We've been recording a lot. We've been doing this lo-fi music. It's been pretty cool. We write a bunch of these silly songs. I mean, they're not silly. There's just, I have a lot of electronic music, and we do that and put that kind of stuff together.
Well, we will have you back. I would
like that. Thank you for having me. This is what a fun show.
Well, brother, it's supposed to be a fun show, because what we want to do is have artists dictate to the audience as to the fact that they're not dead. They haven't retired. The record labels just don't want to pay money for studio time for artists that are over 40. Which is how they put out a lot of people like Luther Vandross and everybody else. But be that as it may, I bring them in. They tell what projects they have going, and art fans and the audiences get to find out you guys are still prominent, still viable, still in and around. So they get to know you're still here. So in closing, let the people know what you want to know, and tell them if there's anything in reference to Max Groove, like Max Groove products, music. Tell them where they can get it from.
Yeah, well, maxgroove.com, maxgroove.com. And also I'm on the radio, Chocolate Radio out of London, every Monday and Friday mornings. That's 7 o'clock your time, Donald. That's 7 o'clock in the morning. This is the Drive Time Show. It's on Chocolate Radio, chocolateradio.com. Check me out, Max Groove, Jazz It to the Max, every Monday and Friday.
Well, here's the thing, brother. This is our holiday program and the last of our program for the year. So wish all your fans and all your audience well for the coming new year.
Happy holidays, everybody, and Happy New Year coming up. Let's make it a good one. And just remember, love yourself so you can love somebody else, and be thankful. Just always be thankful. Why not?
There you go. And to all the audience and all the fans of Inside the Music, we thank you for the time you've spent with us this year. The guests that we had on, we're very happy to have been here to see what we do and to experience the love that you people give them. They thank you for it. And I myself thank our audience and our fans for spending the year with us. Looking forward to the new year, and starting next year, we will be going back to our original platform of having 2 guests each month. So you guys can look forward to that. And we've got some really, really good guests that will be appearing. So we look forward to that, letting you know. To each and every one of you, have a great, a safe, and wonderful holiday. And enjoy it, be safe, and I look forward to seeing all of you next year.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, Don, for having me, my friend.
Okay, buddy.
On the flip.
And once again, I'd like to say thank you, Mr. Max Groove, for joining us here on Inside the Music, the truth about the truth, the information, and the successes, and all the things that you had to share, you know, was wonderful for all our viewers and all our listeners. And we just hope that each and every person that watches this gets an opportunity to take something from it and to know that your dreams can come true. Here we have someone that was doing something for the love, you know, the love of music and love of being entertaining, and it turned into a success for them. And he became a Billboard charted musician, a talented and revered songwriter and performer. And that's what you want when you get into this business. You want to be able to give of yourself through your craft and through your music, and want people to appreciate it, accept it, and respect it, to put you on to bigger and better things and higher heights. So congratulations, Mr. Groove, and continued success in everything that you're doing. And once again, as you heard from King KC, this holiday season, we know that there's so many things that people look forward to during this holiday time, but we know there are also people that look forward to things that might not be so great for them during this holiday time, because everybody doesn't necessarily feel the same during the holiday time. So what we ask here at MovementRadio.com and Movement Radio TV is to please check on those that are less fortunate. See what you can do for those that don't have what we have. Giving is as great, if not greater, than receiving. So if you do community service, if you work at a soup kitchen, if you hand out free meals, if you give out coats, please do something to be generous in this time as well. We understand the whole commercialism of this time of year. Some people celebrate one way, others celebrate another. Some people don't have the means of celebrating at all. So think about those things when you're putting up your tree, you're looking at the Yamura and things like that we celebrate during this time. And also when those of us that celebrate Kwanzaa and the principles of Kwanzaa, remember that it's all about self-discipline, financial enrichment, community service, education, fellowship, brotherhood, giving, loving, and sharing. So with all of these things, we ask, we pray that you remember that during this holiday time. And please stay safe. Make sure that you keep your eyes and your ears open when you're out and about. Times have changed. There's a lot going on in this country. Not only are we still in the pandemic, what they call a tridemic, because of the variations of the COVID virus, but we're also in a pandemic of violence. So please pay attention to your surroundings. Make sure you stay safe. Hold on to your children's hands when you're out and about. Please don't let yourself become so distracted that you're not aware of your surroundings. And like always, enjoy this holiday season. Get with your loved ones. Get with them when you may not even haven't spoken with in a while. Call up an old friend that you haven't talked to in a while. Mend broken fences. Those things are important as well. You may not have money, but people will remember if the last time that you spoke to them, things weren't so good, but you picked up the phone and say, hey, I just want to let you know that I miss you, that I care about you. I miss what we had, and I want to fix what was wrong. So from each and every one of ours to each and every one of yours, from here at movingradio.com, Moving Radio TV, Inside the Music, and all of our platforms, we wish you and yours an extremely safe and blessed happy holiday. And always remember, do the right thing, because it's the right thing to do. Holla at your big homie. He always around. Peace.